Fans, and welcome to Locked On Wizards podcast. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Today, we're going to talk about Kyle Kuzma and Spencer Dinwiddie's beef. We're going to do some 2022-2023 Wizards season awards, even though there shouldn't be any awards for the team, and then also react to some of Kyle Kuzma's exit interview answers. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. A championship team and today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay, guaranteed fit, ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right, so today we're going to start off. It's a jam-packed show today, of course, with the Dinwiddie and Kuzma comments and back and forth with each other. And then also, Kuzma's exit interview comments as well. But we're going to start off with the 2022-2023 season awards. We saw this going on social media with, Wizards social media. People were doing this. So, and somebody asked me as well, my guy, I'm trying to remember his name because he mentioned me on Twitter. Andrew Oliverios, that's my guy. He's a good guy. He does sports writing as well. So shout out to him. He asked me this question on Twitter. And like I said, this team, we didn't deserve any type of awards. Nobody won any awards. Nobody made all-rookie team. Nobody made any kind of all-NBA team. Nobody deserved to make that this year, honestly. Maybe Porzingis in some stretches. Maybe Kuzma at times. Brad at times. A little bit, but really not much at all, honestly. But we're going to start off with MVP for this year. Who was the best player on the team this year, MVP?
Oh, easy, man. KP. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
He was healthy for a majority of the season. He kept us in games. He was kind of a quiet leader. He wasn't as loud as Kyle Kuzma was as far as leadership, but he led by example. So easy, KP. This was a very, very successful season for him because one, it showed that when he's healthy, he can play at an all-star level. So yeah, that's easy, man. KP.
Yeah, 100%. It's hard to not go with Kristaps Porzingis. Like you said, he played a good amount of games. If they didn't sit him for the soft tank that they did this year, then Porzingis definitely would have played more. He played in 65 games this year, which is really good for him. You look at his career, pulling up right now, but he had a terrible ACL injury with the Knicks, and then ever since then, he just didn't really play a full season. 57 games with Dallas in 2020. 43 games in 2021 with Dallas, 51 in 2022 with us and Dallas with the trade, and 65 this year. So he played a good amount of games. And like I said, he probably could have played 70 games. First half Porzingis could have made the All-Star game or potentially an All-NBA team. The way he played in the first half, he was just going crazy with 20 points in the first half. But in the second half, unfortunately, and with like 24, 25. But yeah, no, he led the team with I want to say total points, total rebounds, led the team on blocks. He had a heck of a season this year, so I was personally impressed. Trying to look at some other stats here, but Porzingis he definitely played really well this year, and I was impressed with him for sure. And I thought he was fluid, knocked down a three ball, mid-range game, was a good passer, solid defender, got back on defense. Was a good leader, got along well with the guys, was a good vocal leader for Denny Avdia as well, got along with him really well. So I was impressed with Porzingis. And he's going to opt out of his deal and earn a good contract, So he definitely impressed the rest of the league, or, of course, impressed Tommy Shepard, which it doesn't take much, but impressed Tommy Shepard enough to get another contract here in D.C. So Porzingis he definitely was the MVP for me this season. Most improved player is next on the list. Who was your most improved player this year?
Oh man, that's a good one. Most improved. Got rogue Corey Kispert. His shot. We knew that he was a shooter, if not the best shooter in that draft class. But his ability to cut to the basket. He became a really big volume shooter. Big basketball IQ. No, he really improved, especially in the second half because he got a lot more playing time and responsibility, and he showed. He showed that he can be a really good scorer off the bench in his league. So yeah, I'm definitely rolling with my man Corey Kispert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would go with Corey Kispert as well. Porzingis, I want to see how many times he got to the free throw line this year too. Yeah, he got to the free throw line 6 times a game. That was huge to me. He shot 85% from the free throw line. 3-point percentage this year. He shot Porzingis shot 38% from the 3-point line, which is really good with 5 3-point attempts a game. That's really good volume for a guy who's 7'3". He showed why he's the unicorn, so versatile, so talented. 55% from 2, 85% from the free throw line. So from the field, he also shot 49%. So he almost had a 50% from the home, not close to 50, 40, 90, but he was pretty close. He was pretty close. 38% from the 3-point line, 49% from the field, and then 85%, and then 48% from the field, and 38% from the 3-point line. So he wasn't too far off from a 50, 40, 90 year. He had an excellent season. Corey Kispert, he played really well. And it wasn't just because of those games at the end of the year where Brad was out, Kuz was out. It kind of was as well with the solid 3 being out. But when they did go down, he was very impressive. He put up a 27-point game, 25-point game. He just got more opportunities. He got to just put up more threes. He had a game where he hit 7 or 8 threes. He just went crazy in a couple games.
Oh yeah, 8 threes.
Yeah. So he had a game where he really got hot. And I think out of all the guys that got more opportunity, like between him and Johnny, between him and Denny, I feel like Corey's skill set and what he did, I feel like it's more sustainable if the solid 3 does come back. I think it's going to be kind of difficult for Denny to do what he did just because he's not going to have the ball in his hands as much. But Corey, since he's a guy that doesn't really need the basketball in his hands to be successful, he can cut to the basket, backdoor cuts, run on the floor, move without the ball. I see him gelling well with the solid 3 if they do come back. But 3-point shooting, free throw shooting, more volume, more shots, moving without the basketball, cutting, all kinds of stuff. And he's athletic too, man. He'll dunk on you too. He really will. He'll block your shot. He's athletic. He can put the ball on the floor. Had a couple step backs against the Knicks too. So I was really impressed with Corey Kispert. I think he's certainly improved. I mean, you could throw Jordan Goodwin in there too, just because of the whole G League thing, him playing in the G League and getting better. You could definitely go with Jordan Goodwin as well. But the next question is the next award is best newcomer to the Washington Wizards.
Ooh, best newcomer. Man, that's a good one. Not really. I mean, that's pretty easy. DeLon. Easy. Mm-hmm. He's proven that he was probably the most valuable acquisition the last offseason. Because if you look at from a leadership standpoint on the second unit, his defense, his effort, the dog, he led that second unit. And when need be, when we needed him to start or pick up when starters got in foul trouble, he picked up slack. So yeah, it's easy. His 3-point shooting, his defense, yeah, it's DeLon. Easy.
Yeah, I would go with DeLon Wright too. It's not hard at all with that one. But yeah, like you said, his defense was really incredible at times. You saw how bad the defense was when he went down. Not only that, I thought he showed some offensive prowess as well, getting to the basket at times, knocking down a 3. He was clutch to start off. We started off the season 3-1, and a lot of that was because of his defense. There was times where he had to finish games instead of Monte because he just brought more energy and just more athleticism, more pop, and just better defense. So I would go with DeLon Wright as well. But yeah, we're gonna get to some other awards. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right. The first time around, just add your ride to my garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. All right, so the next award is most disappointing. There's a lot of options for that one.
Yeah, man. Man, the easy answer to me would be Will Barton. But I really hate to go this direction, man. But I'm going with Bradley Beal. I'm gonna say why. First year of his Supermax contract. Wasn't available for the mini games he should have been. Leadership was an issue sometimes, bad body language, stuff like that. It was a hard year for him, man, especially when now he's dealing with that whole issue with the fan, the betting and flipping the hat off his head. He's had a really long year. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Brad, man. I like his game, long time wizard, man. But I said this before and I say it time and time again, man, that when you make it that amount of money, and this was the standard for everybody we maxed. I expected the same thing out of John, and I expected the same thing out of Gil. Leadership. You make that money, you need to be that guy who, even if you're not playing. This is one thing I noticed this year is that, especially the few games that we both went to together, man, is that I'm a big observer, man, and I noticed that the games that he didn't play, and he's in civilian clothes, he's kind of sitting on the bench, trying to chilling. And that's not what I expect, man. I'm expecting you to be in the huddle with the coach, directing guys, being out to talk. You saw that with Kyle Kuzma, and that's why I've been a big catalyst with giving that leadership award to Kyle Kuzma this year. So I'm gonna say Bradley Beal just because of leadership, man. And we're gonna talk about his exit interview and comments from him. But if you want to be the long-time franchise guy here, you've got to be the leader for this team. So with that and his health, I'm gonna roll with Brad, man, just because he wasn't available when he needed to be all the way, and just bad body language and stuff like that. So I'm gonna roll with Brad, man.
Yeah, that's. I can't dispute that one either. There's so many avenues, so many guys to choose from. You can go with the GM with Tommy Shepard. I would go with Kendrick Nunn. I would go with probably Will Barton. There's so many guys you could really go with. Will Barton was a huge disappointment. Just didn't shoot the ball well, held onto the ball too long, took ill-advised shots. We know that's a part of his game, being a tough six-man, microwave kind of score, but it just didn't work out. And that trade. So, I'm going to go with Tommy Shepard because he lost trades this year. We always talk about how he wins trades. The Porzingis trade was a win for Bertans and Dinwiddie, or the Gafford trade was a win, giving up Troy Brown and Mo Wagner. What other trade has he made? Getting Kuz for Russell Westbrook, getting off that contract. A lot of people commend him for the John Wall trade for Russell Westbrook getting off of John Wall's contract. But this he had two clear losses this year. When you traded KCP, who's doing well with the Nuggets, for Monte Morris and Will Barton. Will Barton's not even on the roster anymore. And Monte Morris, he's okay, but at best he's a backup. We're still looking for a point guard. The team is still in need of a point guard. It's still a big need. Kyle Kuzma said in his exit interview. Chris Miller came on last night and said that's a big need for the team. So we still need a point guard. We still need to push the pace. We still didn't accomplish that. You're probably gonna have to use a draft pick on that and swing on a point guard. So you lost the KCP and Monte Morris and Will Barton trade. You lost the Rui trade. You traded Rui for 3 second-round picks and Kendrick Nunn, who barely even played. He sat on the bench. After a couple games, he played well. Then he collected DMPs, so you failed there with that trade. And Rui played pretty well last night from what I heard with the Lakers. I'm going to look up the stats real quick from the Lakers game, if I'm not mistaken. But he's in the playoffs now, and we're not. And you lost your bench scoring. You look at the records with and without Rui. With Rui, we had a winning record. I'm not acting like Rui's Michael Jordan or anything like that. But yeah, Rui had 12 points last night. It's not wowing you, but coming off the bench for the Lakers, he was a huge help. 2 threes last night, 2 boards, 1 assist. Not great rebounding or anything like that, but 12 points. They needed that. We lost our scoring off the bench. You saw how bad our bench was after he traded Rui. And like I said, Kendrick Nunn basically gave you nothing. He gave you none. So I think Tommy Shepard was the biggest disappointment because he usually wins trades, but he clearly lost 2 trades, one in the offseason and then one at the trade deadline as well. And then before the trade deadline, everybody was waiting, looking at the clock because he usually makes trades like right before the deadline. Like last year, he traded Bertans and Dinwiddie for Porzingis right before the trade deadline, right before the clock stopped. And this year, he didn't make any trades. He made the one trade, and that's it. And he didn't upgrade the roster at all. He didn't upgrade the bench, and that certainly hurt us after the All-Star game.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree with you. When you said player, I rode with a player, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm with you. He clearly lost those trades and we both predicted it. When we looked at when we did the video for the trade for Monte and Will the Thrill, I told you just lost a good defender and a
Right.
guy who could shoot the three.
Mm-hmm.
KCP man is important. Look what he did for Denver. When's the last time you saw Denver a number one seed in the West? I'm just saying. KCP was a catalyst in that. Everybody wants to talk, about Jamal Murray, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. But to me, KCP was a glue player for that team this year. So, I predicted it, man. You lost a lot of defense because what are the two biggest issues that we needed to shore up? 3-point shooting and defense, and you lost that with KCP.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the Rui trade, yeah, it was a terrible trade. Second round picks. One's a late second round pick. So you that. So you lost your best bench scorer for a guy that, yeah, he had a couple good games, but non-existent. What'd you get from him? None. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm with you, man. Terrible trades, and that's why I said, man, that going forward, he's got. If anybody has pressure on them outside of the franchise player and ownership, is Tommy Shepard, because now that that this solid three core is going to be the core going forward, he's got to be tricky, man. He's got to be tricky, especially with his draft, because, man, I say it time and time again, man, I would try to get another first rounder. It is thick. This draft is thick, man. If I could, best case scenario, if I was Tommy Shepard, if I could roll out this draft with a point guard and Cam Whitmore, I'm just saying. You from players 1 through 15 and maybe even 20, you got guys who can step in and contribute to a basketball team. And especially if you look at other, I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself, man. I definitely agree on Tommy Shepard. Abysmal moves, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, a lot of people are talking about a mock draft. Somebody hit us up today on social media as well about a mock draft. So we'll definitely be doing that soon. We got a lot of time till the draft. The draft is in June after the finals, so we'll definitely be doing a lot of draft talk. But yes, disappointing from Tommy Shepard. Like I said, there's numerous people that could be included in that. And then for him to say that the season, the grade was incomplete, and once again, of course, talk about injuries. It's disappointing to hear that in his exit interview as well. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up with Kuzma and Dinwiddie. They're bantering, going back and forth. But we'll get to Kuzma's exit interview probably next episode. I know it's just a jam-packed episode, but we're gonna get to the Spencer Dinwiddie and Kuzma comments before a quick word from Brandon.
Yes, sir. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Grand slams, no hitters, and double plays are back. Man, I love baseball. I'm glad it's back. And there's no better place to get on Major League Baseball action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. That's because right now, new customers can step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's right, $1,000. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up, place your first bet, and get a $1,000 back and bonus bets if you don't win. So don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball. So,
all right, let's get into it. So Spencer Dinwiddie, there's every chance he gets a chance to talk about the Wizards or take a shot at the Wizards, he certainly takes it. So this was on a FanDuel interview, or I want to say it was a FanDuel show or something like that. I think it was FanDuel TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a FanDuel TV. So this all started, just to give everybody the context. We beat the Mavericks in Dallas. We swept the Dallas Mavericks. Ever since Dinwiddie was traded to the Mavericks, we have not lost to the Mavericks. So we are on a 4-game win streak against the Mavericks. So Spencer Dinwiddie, he answered a question about, I want to say it's time with the Wizards, something like that. Once again, and he said that those guys are over there playing for contracts and we're going to play for the playoffs. Then Kyle Kuzma tweeted that they don't play winning basketball, which in my opinion, they don't. Clearly, they just missed the playoffs. And the way they play around Luka, or just Luka dominating the basketball, that's not winning basketball. So I do agree with what Kyle Kuzma said about that. So Spencer Dinwiddie went on the show. The host, young lady, asked him about the Twitter beef with Kyle Kuzma. Dinwiddie went on his whole spiel, basically saying that you're probably not even he said this about Kuz, you're probably not even a third star really on a good team, because if you were, the Lakers probably would have kept you. He also wanted to say that, yeah, I know. He also went on to say that Bradley Beal is a 1B, which is true. He said some true things about the organization, which he has said. But at the same time, once again, where is the accountability for you? And then also what really struck me, which was really disrespectful to Kuzma, was he said that basically Kyle Kuzma's priorities, you could see where his priorities were, saying that he was into fashion, kind of looking good. I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said that Kyle Kuzma was into fashion, which we know is yes, he's into fashion, but we know Kuz is a hard worker, man. This guy works hard. He plays hard. He plays 100 miles per hour. He gives 100% maximum effort all the time. People will talk about his shot selection, but one thing I won't question with Kuz is his effort, his leadership, mentoring Isaiah Todd, mentoring Denny at times. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader. He says great things on and off the court. So I thought that was a low blow, certainly, on Kuz, talking about Kuz playing for his contract, saying that he gets up a lot of shots, and that he wouldn't be able to do that on other teams. He's getting up shots, and that he's not a third guy. And then also what he said was true, that they have 3 talented guys in Kuz, Porzingis, and Bill, but they didn't make the playoffs. So that is mind blowing. So what he said was true. I do agree with that. But for him to take personal shots at Kuz certainly was uncalled for. We definitely know there's bad blood there. But once again, Dinwiddie never talks about how bad he was in DC. What were your thoughts on Kyle Kuzma clapping back? And we'll talk about what Kuzma said too, because Kuzma called Dinwiddie Din S-wordy, Din shiggity, basically. So what were your thoughts on the whole back and forth, Brandon?
Man, as far as Spencer Dinwiddie, what a cornball. Like, come on, man. Like, let it go. Let it go. You were the guy. I mean, you got paid. You got the bag before any of them did. I mean, you got your bag before Brad got his bag. Get out of here, man. Then you came in and you tried to take leadership, and I get that, and I appreciate that. And then, but what did you say? Look, get yours because I got mine. That was his exact words. Get your bag because I got my bag. So now you're criticizing them for wanting to get paid. Dude, since we paid you, you've been traded how many times? Like, come on, Spencer. Come on, man. I mean, stop. And then Kuz, man. Yeah, if you didn't already win over majority of the fan base, you just did, because that's the type of players we like in DC. Feisty players with dog in them, gonna talk stuff. That's what I like. You know, that's what I want out of them, man. Look, Kuz, man, yeah, you got a friend in me, bro. I'm saying, man, because look, man, that's what I want out. That's what I want to hear from a guy that really is serious about being here. You know, look, and it'd be real crazy for him to walk away after this, because he showed a whole lot of love for this team and for the city in a short amount of time. You know, his leadership, the fact that, you know, this culture change had a lot to do with him. You know, he came in, you know, everybody likes each other. You know, he's working with people. He's mentoring people. You know, he's sitting there talking to people on the sidelines. When our franchise players sit on the bench, Kuzma's the one who's all walking over there into the huddle, directing people, even when he's in street clothes. Okay, he has been the biggest leadership example in DC this season, period. That's it. I mean, he's been that guy, you know. So yeah, it's funny because Spencer, stop, man. Like, I mean, let it go. Because honestly, none of us are thinking about you. Right. I don't think Kuz is thinking about you. I mean, go win. You know, go help Brooklyn win, man. Stop it. You know, you came here. You're not here anymore. It is what it is. You know, and Kuz, say whatever you want about his bag. He earned it. And you can say he earned it more than you did, man, because really this franchise was very, really nice giving out the amount of money to a guy who just came out from an ACL injury. I'm just saying, you know, and that was my thinking when I learned when we finally traded him, because it took forever to trade for the guy. I mean, it took like 6 to 7 teams to help. But, you know, the fact that we paid him to be a second option when he's never been a second option, coming off an ACL injury. And that's another thing. You're pointing out options. When have you ever been even a number 4? Look at the teams he's been on. Detroit. Was he even a starter in Detroit? No, I don't think so. I mean, look at the teams he's been on. And I'm not trying to attack the guy. I'm just being real. You know, if you're going to come at people, man, then have your facts straight. You know, I mean, don't come out here talking about, oh, you know, the bag. You got your bag before anybody else did. What are you talking about? He needs to get over it, man. You know, look, we are who we are. This is Wizards country. Go be a net. You go do your thing. You know, go crypto it up in Brooklyn, because it's just because it's so cornballish, man. That and it's not just him, man. The media, you know, like the media does, likes to find hot topics, hot topics, and they like to ignite controversy. You know, obviously, every chance they get to talk to Dinwiddie, especially when it has to do with a current player for the Wizards, they're going to prod him and try to get a reaction out of him. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's falling right into line with what the media wants him to do, which is the startup crap. Let it go, man. Let it go. It didn't work out. That's it. Kuz is here. You're not. Let's let it go. You know, and that's my hit on this thing, man. You know, just let it go. It is so childish for you to still have these issues with the organization because Kuz ain't thinking about you. So yeah, I like what I saw from Kuz, man. That's what I'm talking about, Kuz. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then Dinwiddie compared himself to Drew Holiday. You don't play defense like Drew Holiday. You were a traffic cone on this team. You were a turnstile. Guys were getting by you so quick. You could barely get into the lane. He was shooting floaters from almost the 3-point or the free throw line because he couldn't get by guys. He was the king of shooting grenades. At the end of the shot clock, he would shoot grenade sidestep threes and shoot floaters off of the backboard. That's what Dinwiddie was doing here before he was traded. And there was the reports about nobody liking him. Nobody wanted to listen to him in the locker room. I see why. So we're going to get into what Kuz had to say. So Kuz tweets, insecurity is loud because Dinwiddie starts off by saying Draymond Green, what Draymond Green said about, I think we said that about Dylan Brooks, saying insecurity is loud. And then Kuz goes on to say the Wizards and I have so much real estate on Din Shiggity's island, or Din S-Words Island. This guy got signed by a team, 60 M's, and was traded before the following season was over, basically before the trade deadline. Number 2, what in the world have you won in this league? LOL, you've been bounced around like a basketball, my boy. So, yeah, he's been on multiple teams now. He said, you can thank KD and Kyrie and them for spearheading 34 wins before the All-Star break. You guys were 11-13 after the break for your playoffs. So basically saying that they didn't get the playoffs. They're only making the playoffs because of KD and Kyrie. Now, the only thing with Kuz saying that is that we laid an egg after the All-Star break, too. We had a losing record after the All-Star break. So it's kind of like Kuz. You can't really say much either on that. But he said second option, more like second point guard. LOL, my man. I watched you for 2 months at the end of your Wizards tenure. Being the second option, averaged 8 points, 4 assists, and 4 boards. Sounds good, but glad you're hooping now. And yep, I got a bag coming. Stop hating. LOL. So, and then Kuz talks about the crypto check too, so he threw a little jab in there too. So Kuz was I'm 100% behind Kuz. I love what he said about Dinwiddie. Any Dinwiddie bashing, I'm here for, because Dinwiddie, any chance he gets to talk about the Wizards in a bad light, he does it all the time. So I hope this is the last time we have to talk about Dinwiddie. I hope this is the last time Dinwiddie talks about the Wizards that he's mentioned with the Wizards, because it's getting old and tired. And this guy, he does have the Wizards real estate will always be in Dinwiddie's mind all the time.
Yeah, I'm saying right now, I'm getting Nets tickets. I'm gonna show him, give him the business. It's just, I mean, I'm not gonna say that stuff he said about the organization wasn't true. Yeah, it's true, but it's nothing that none of us don't already know. He just acts like, the ex that just can't let go. Like, let it go, man. I mean, because you weren't complaining when you were here, when you were, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it together. It's kind of annoying because this is still news. Like, you still talking stuff. I mean, this is a whole nother year, man. Like, yeah, Kuzma. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I like what I saw from it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, man.
Yeah, Dinwiddie. And then comments a couple weeks ago, he brought up Denny, saying that Denny obviously is supposed to be the next Luka. Nobody's saying that. So he took another jab at Denny, another unnecessary jab. Nobody here is saying that. Maybe isn't really a fandom, but I haven't heard Tommy Shepard say that. I didn't hear Wes Unseld Jr. say that. So who are you hearing that from to bring that up and bring a jab at Denny for why? Is that why things didn't work out? You're not pointing the finger at yourself? Why things didn't work out? You had to blame Denny. Now you're blaming Kuz. So, I mean, just no accountability from him at all. But like you said, Brandon, what he said about Brad, too, being a 1B, playing with Giannis in a Middleton type of role, that is exactly where Bradley Beal should be. And that would be perfect for Bradley if he wants to win a championship.
Yeah, I mean, he was on point with that, but it's just, I mean, you were still trying to throw shots. It's really immature. Like, you're a grown man. Just let it go. It's just, and before you even try to throw shade at people, look at your own career, man. Like, really? I mean, the next Luka. Well, one thing nobody's ever going to say is the next Spencer Dinwiddie. Let's be real. Like, I mean, and you're throwing shit at Denny. Come on, man. Denny's, I mean, look, I'm a 37-year-old man, and I mean, it's all respect. He's still a kid. You coming after a guy that's still young? He's still a kid, man. He said nothing about Spencer Dinwiddie. He's trying to put in work. So I think that is so clownish, man, that you come after a young guy that has said nothing about you, man. Nothing. You're coming after Denny for what? Yeah, it's so cornballish, man. It's just, nothing against Brooklyn, man, but I'm definitely rooting for the 76ers. I'm just saying, but because it's just,
it probably will be a gentleman's sweep, 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah, because I mean, really, if you look at Kyle Kuzma's comments, and then, like you said, Kuz can't say too much, man, because we won 35 games. But still, I mean, those, the fact that Brooklyn's in the playoffs, that had a lot to do with KD and Kyrie being there. I mean, I like what they did getting back Mikal Bridges. which is a guy I wouldn't mind being here. But yeah, Spencer, you just got to chill out, man. And that's pretty much where I'm just going to cut it.
Right. All right. So we're going to wrap it up tonight. Tomorrow, we definitely will try to get to some of the extra interviews like Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal, and then, of course, sprinkling some mailbag questions here and there. And then we're going to grade players individually. So we got a lot of off-season talk for you guys. And, of course, draft talk. We'll probably get a couple of draft experts on here to talk about some of the prospects so we can learn about them all together if you have not watched a lot of college basketball. So we just want to thank you guys once again for listening and watching, and make sure you guys subscribe to Locked On Wizards, and also make sure you guys check out the Game to Game podcast. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Hail to the Wizards.